So I've noticed that on our tours, uh,
Look at you.
it's I think a heavenly sign that I'm divine.
Oh, I'm sorry, folks, but that was, go ahead. I'm so
Ouch, that one's sharp. Um,
sorry.
I've noticed that on our tours, hey, get it together, Barclay. Nobody wants to see your pasty white lips.
Okay.
I've noticed that our groups are getting older. When I speak to clubs, I had this experience. The club I had gone back for a second time a year later, and I was
Yeah.
going to give the same presentation. And they said, "Oh, no, we don't want you to do the same one." And I go, "I've seen the age of your group. Nobody there remembers what they had for breakfast, much less what I spoke about a year ago."
That's great.
So I'm wondering, are there anybody? Oh, and another club, I asked, "Are you getting any young members?" And they go, "Yeah, we've got this one guy. He's 60." So, do we have anybody on this watching this YouTube who is under 60?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, everybody, please post your age. I'd like to see what our
That would be
demographics
really
are.
good. Really,
Yeah.
we want to know our demographics
The
for
world is
sure.
getting old,
Yeah, that's fantastic.
or
Hey,
baby boomers.
so today I want to share Tim Agos Agoston. I'm going to go with Agoston. Tim, one of our loyal. I don't know if he's a loyal. He must be loyal
We
follower.
watched it at least once.
Yeah, I think he's watching. He says, "Hey, John and Cole, in Canada, we have a CAPA, which is the Canadian Association for Photographic Art. And our camera club uses their standards in judging house competitions. With so much AI available to the user, removing, extending, or filling, and the ever create by text using these features could make your image unacceptable for competition. Is the software outgrowing the reality in photography? Is there a line? Is removing by AI too far? Just curious. And I love the show. For a guy who watched the show one time, that's pretty good. But I can't stop laughing every time I glance over at you. That star above you. That's my favorite background picture ever. So I responded to Tim and said, well, to me, every club's going to need to draw their own line in the sand. And I use an example. I said, for me, let's say the scene behind me here out in Wyoming, where I just was a couple of days ago, scouting for a new workshop where we're going to run horses up in this area, and this is going to be a blast. But found a great new ranch. But let's say there was a beer can, in this. I'm fine using AI remove or whatever tool to get rid of their beer can. If there were a fence running through there, I have no problem removing that fence if I couldn't get over the fence. That's my line in the sand. The club's going to have to decide,
But
you know.
John, you went on and said something else about adding. Continue that thought, what you said to him about adding.
Oh yeah, and then I said, but to me, if I were in this scene and I did not have a horse there ridden, which we will have down the line, but I could easily say to myself, but I want to show the people who potentially might want to come to this horse, tour and photograph horses in the scene. They're going to want to see a horse in there. So I could use the language, please add a horse to this thing, and AI would do that. That line for me is not one I'm going to
Okay, let
cross.
me ask you a question. I'm just curious.
Yep.
What if you didn't use AI, but you simply placed a horse there using traditional Photoshop tools? Would you be
Yep.
more okay with that?
Nope. I'm
Okay,
saying,
so it's not the AI issue there. It's that you've crossed the line photographically.
yeah, it just wasn't there. So I'm way more comfortable removing a distraction, trash, garbage, offense, whatever. And I think part of it is because I'm not a journalistic photographer. So, and I don't make any claim to be so. So for me, removing stuff, distractions from a scene so that it's what I want it to be is a non-issue. But for me, and it's my line in the sand, and obviously others, it's not adding something to it, whether it be with traditional means or using AI prompts to do it. And then the last thing I said was the most honest thing in that email back to him, which was, but if I wanted to be really honest, I think you shouldn't be doing competitions at clubs because I don't think art should be competitive, you know, and that's the truth for me. I just don't find any value in being competitive in clubs. And I know people are going to hate me for saying that, but that's just where that's my line in the sand for competitions. I don't find it to be healthy. I don't find it to be helpful if you're on a journey. And that's where I need to learn that that's me and my perspective on things. Whereas again, my buddy Dan, who you knew, my dear friend, he loved PSA, Photographic Society of America, and competing there. So who am I to say, bottom line, whether competing is good or bad? I can certainly have an opinion that I don't think it's healthy, and I still stand by that.
Well, I wanted to invite you. We're having a journal entry competition here in my hometown, and we're all going to find the most heart-wrenching journal entry we've written and submit them to a judge to say which one was the best, which was the most heartfelt.
Gosh, that analogy really works all the time, doesn't it?
I don't know. AI scares the living crap out of me.
Yeah.
I know that it's going to do some wonderful things, perhaps in medical diagnostics.
Yep.
It's going to eliminate jobs, which is going to disrupt the economy. But in art, my gosh, we both love Rick Beato, and he recently did an episode where created an AI generated image of this hip young singer with a nose ring, and then he had AI write a song and then put it to music, and it was all fantastic.
2 minutes it took. 2 minutes,
but it was all fake. And
all fake.
My guess, it would make a big hit on the pop charts.
Yep.
Because if you're listening to the radio, you're just listening to a catchy tune that you enjoy. But from a creative standpoint, it's an abomination.
Yeah, so I mean, and then that's really what I think this viewer was asking, right? You know, what are we going to do about AI, and is it going to? And so I still stand by what I said. You got to draw your own line in the sand at your club. You got to be able to determine. Now, Adobe is at least giving you. So I believe I have this right, and I could be wrong. I know I can see any AI that I've used. There's a new little symbol in Lightroom, and I believe it's in Adobe Camera Raw as well, that alerts you. It says, "Hey, you use it," and if you click on it, it'll tell you what tools you use for AI. I think that's going to be available to somebody who sees the image. Do you know that?
I didn't even know there was such a tool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, it's meant so that people can, and I have a funny feeling Adobe is doing it for clubs, right? Yeah. So that the club can hit a button and go, oh, wait a minute, you added a boat.
You know, well, I like your answer to him about questioning whether competing is worthwhile. But a club is going to have to figure out how they're going to handle it. Now, I've heard some clubs have AI categories.
Yeah, which would be, let's like it's a anything category, or it's a creative category. That's fine if you want to allow people to show something that was generated completely from AI prompts. As long as the audience knows that, I think it's appropriate and fine.
I was surprised that there are clubs and they have a judging category, and I think it might be called nature.
Right.
And if you had that photo, it would be accepted. But if there was even a telephone pole or a fence post,
nope,
it would be eliminated.
No hand of man.
Okay, so what happens if you don't use AI, but you just use your little healing brush and you remove it? Now that thing is acceptable?
Yeah, probably not. But yeah, that's a very fair question, because that's true. And it's like you asked, if I put the horse in the scene, just by taking a horse that I photographed myself, maybe I did it at the Hideout Ranch instead of Three Spear Ranch, and then cut and pasted it, would that be okay? And for me, no, but some people it might be fine.
Yeah. Adding's always been a line for me also.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, of course, think I add those clouds on harbingers, and I don't. And I could, technically, but it wouldn't feel honest.
Yeah. I know you've like burned stuff out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I do that a lot too. Yeah.
It's funny, when I was a quote photographer who believed that you shouldn't manipulate an image, I wouldn't be okay with removing an item. It was there. Yet I would be okay with zooming in to remove it or cropping to remove it. So everything we did, even as documentary photographers, really, we're only telling a part of the picture, the part we want to be seen.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Good conversation as usual. Appreciate it. Comments below, like, follow, subscribe.